Good morning. Happy Foodie Friday. It's Tanya here, and I am tuning in live from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. I am on a vertical view right now, which is different. So I apologize if I'm on a weird angle, but this is nonetheless, this is this is Facebook. So it looks like they've done an update, and normally I'm sitting sideways, but right now I am vertical. So anyway, nonetheless, I am here to share with you a new recipe in my kitchen. But before I go any further, I also want to say welcome to my page. This is my business page that I share with my husband, Derek. And I would love to know where you're tuning in from, because right now it's morning for us on the west side of Canada. And it is about, oh goodness, it is just about 11 o'clock a.m. MST, so we're Mountain Standard Time. So I would love to know where you're tuning in from, across the globe. Are you local? Let me know where you're tuning in from. We always want to know how global we are. And also, I just want to give a little bit of background. If you've never landed on my page before, again, welcome. And just a little bit about us. We are a family of 5. And 4 of us are now living here in Alberta, Canada. We have been for the last over 3 years. And we made the move from Ontario, Canada, for a better lifestyle for our family. And our oldest daughter is back in Ontario, and she has been for the last 3 years. She stayed with us for the first year of university online, and now she's back finishing her last year. So we're very excited for her, and we had the pleasure of having her with us for 3 weeks over the Christmas holidays. So again, going back to the lifestyle, Derek was driving like a vicious commute. I don't know how else to explain it. It was incredibly dangerous, actually, driving the 401, if you know anything about the Ontario road system. And so he would drive an hour and a half each way from work and back. And so as you can imagine, his nervousness and worry and my worry, wondering how he's doing on that drive. So there was a lot of tension there, and just realizing that we weren't spending our life the way that we wanted to. So that's kind of our life in a nutshell. But moving forward, we are now, extremely happy about being close to the mountains. We get to utilize, outdoor activities, whether it's summer, winter, you can, name it. We've done it all. And we're super excited to see what the next season is going to offer us. So without further ado, I want to share with you a new recipe that I've done before in my kitchen, but not something that I've presented here. And I will also let you know that I do these every Friday. Every Friday morning, I try for the morning, Mountain Standard Time. So if you want to tune in for next Friday as well, I highly encourage you to do so. And if you want to look back, we've got a ton of recipes that I've shared here over the course of the last 3 months. So those are yours to keep. So if you want to, go back there and start your own collection, you can also see the end result. So I know a lot of times when you're looking at a recipe, you want to see, how did it turn out? What does it look like? Is that something that I want to give a go? Would my family like this? So today we're doing a triple chocolate muffin. And the triple chocolate part comes from, not only is it a chocolate-based muffin, but also we've got 3 different types of chippets in there. So there's going to be white chippets, butterscotch, and like a semi-sweet dark chippet, so that we're going to, incorporate all those together. And it's a fairly fast and easy recipe. Normally, I try to pick recipes that have ingredients that are on hand. And then a tip that I love to share with you at the beginning is to grab all your ingredients from your pantry or from your cupboard, so that you're not scrambling to do the next step. Because I know for me, in the past, it was always run back and forth, trying to keep my kitchen tidy. But honestly, when you're doing baking or when you're doing any sort of cooking, it's okay to have that little bit of untidiness while you're going through it, because that's going to make things actually go faster, so that you don't have to keep back reading all the instructions or your recipe. So just a tip for you there. And also to have all your ingredients, maybe if you can have them pre-measured, depending on if you need different bowls for different situations. So I've actually got a glass bowl here. You can probably see a little bit of what I'm doing here. I gave a little bit of elevation. And so this is going to be a 2-step process. So usually what happens is you do the dry ingredients first, and then you'll add the wet, or vice versa, you add the dry to the wet. So depending on the recipe. And another tip is to get the oven started, so that while you're preparing your mix, whatever that looks like, then the oven can be warming up for you. And then by the time you get there, all is said and done. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the oven on to 400. So these muffins are going to take no time at all, about 16 to 18 minutes when all is said and done. So I'm just going to do that. And I would also love to know, if you're tuning in, if you can hear me okay. I've got my new microphone set on, so I'd love to know if I'm clear or if I'm echoing. With the higher ceilings, sometimes the sound can bounce off and it sounds a little echoey. So I just wanted to make sure of that. So the first step is actually to put all the dry ingredients together. So I have 2 cups of flour here, 2.5 cups, I believe. So I'm going to do the dry ingredients first. So that would be that one. I've got 1 cup of coconut sugar. Now, it called for brown sugar, but I also have coconut sugar on hand, and you can completely substitute for that sugar if you like, if it's a little bit on the healthier side. So I'm just going to plop that in there like that. And then I'm going to actually add the baking soda and salt. So I've combined those two because usually those two go hand in hand when you're doing a recipe. So they're both together. And I've got my 1/3 cup of cocoa. So again, for the cocoa, you can use any brand, any brand that you like. I'm a Costco shopper, so I get it sort of in bulk, and then I have it in a jar, and I find it just so much easier to be able to scoop it out of the wide mouth jar. I just realized I don't have my whisk here, so I'm just going to grab that. I was just fiddling around with the microphone before, so this step I usually have this covered, where I have all my utensils here. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, actually, if I go like this, you can see it better. Mix all the dry ingredients together first, and then we're going to add the wet ingredients to a separate bowl. So I've got my separate bowl ready as well. And it calls for a little bit of butter, like 6 tablespoons. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready on the stove too. So just give me 1 second. Normally I have everything all pre-measured, like as you can see. That way it goes a lot faster, but with the butter, I'm just going to put it on the stove while I'm getting the rest of the ingredients. So let me just grab that. Okay, so 6 tablespoons is roughly 1/3 cup of butter. So I've just put that in the pot. So while that's melting, I'm going to go ahead and get the other wet ingredients and have a little chat with you. How is your Friday going so far? I love Fridays. I feel like it's just, a lighter day of the week. It's refreshing to know that the weekend is upon us, and that means more family time and, spending time together. So that's what I always look forward to. And our son actually has only a half day of school on Fridays. So that gives us, opportunity in the afternoon to do stuff together, if that is the case, or if you want to take off to the mountains a little earlier. Sometimes that's feasible. My husband Derek is actually working from home right now too. And our daughter Jasmine has Fridays off from school. So that's really awesome too. So that's why I love Fridays so much. So I'm going to go ahead. It says to pour the wet ingredients together. So now I will mention this here is milk converted into buttermilk. So the way you can do that, if you don't have buttermilk, you don't have to purchase buttermilk. All you have to do is add 1 tablespoon of vinegar to a cup of milk. So I've gone ahead and combined those two together. And the other wet ingredient is the eggs. So 2 eggs already whipped. So I've done that as well. And I'm just going to check on my butter at the moment, see how that's going. And then that butter is going to be added here as well. Okay, just a little ways to go for the butter. But the other thing I also do is, especially if I'm doing, well, it doesn't matter, cake, muffin, bread, anything like that, you always want to prepare your baking pan first as well, so that when you're ready, it's not sitting around and you can go ahead and do the next step. So I also did this too. I got my muffin tray ready. So this is going to make approximately 12 full-size muffins. So depending on how big or small you like your muffins. And normally what I'll do is I'll use a muffin scoop. So I'll grab that. And the muffin scoop is looking like this size here. Sometimes I'll even use this for cookies if I like a bigger cookie. I know my family loves their cookies and any baked goods. So Fridays, of course, is a fun day for them too, because they get to enjoy whatever it is that I've prepared for the day. So this is great to be able to have something for the weekend if you have guests that are going to be coming, or if you are going somewhere, you can bring these with you as well, and certainly enjoy these with your family. So muffins are sort of one of the, I always feel like it depends on the muffin whether it feels like a dessert or if it's a meal replacement or an addition to your meal. So here would definitely call this a dessert, especially with the chocolate base. And also I want to say with the chippets, you can add whatever you want. Like this one actually only called for white chippets, but I'm venturing off to add the extra flavors there. So if you've got other chippets on hand that you want to use up, it's a great opportunity for that as well. And I love butterscotch. That's one of my favorite flavors. So whenever I can incorporate it into a recipe, I'm there. Like it's the first thing I love to do. Okay, sounds like the butter is just about done. I'm just going to let that finish melting here. And of course, this will be recorded so that you'll be able to watch this on the replay and also have the recipe in hand. I always leave the recipe in the comments after, so you can always come back, grab the recipe, and then add it to your collection. So I usually do it on a Google Doc, so it makes it easier to keep all your recipes in one place. Or if you want to copy and paste that into your own recipe, area, then you can certainly do that. So I'm just adding the melted butter into the mix here. So again, wet ingredients together, dry ingredients together. And so I'll just give this a little bit of a stir. I'm actually going to use the whisk in a minute as well, just to make sure that it's all incorporated together. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just landing in here now, I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, because again, we are global. And, I run my online business here on this page, but of course, Fridays are about baking. So I just love to have you join me in my kitchen, have a little bit of fun together, and get to know you. So again, love to, hear where you're tuning in from and what's your weekend looking like. We have snow here again. Last weekend, it was 14 degrees and it was beautiful and sunny and warm, and it was sweater weather for the whole week. Now that all turned on us again this week. So now we've got a little bit of cooler weather here in Alberta. But you know what? It's great for people that want to do outdoor activities like snowshoeing or skiing or snowboarding. It really gives them that opportunity. So, okay. So now I've gone ahead and mixed all of the wet ingredients together, and I'm going to add it now to my dry ingredients. So fairly easy, as I mentioned, especially when you have all the ingredients already pre-measured. Okay, and I guess the best thing for this would be to stir it with a spoon. I love my wooden spoon. So I'm just going to go ahead and stir this, and we're just about done here. Like literally, it's combine this until it's no longer dry. You don't want to overdo it, especially with muffins. So you want to just until it's incorporated. That will be more than enough before you can scoop it into your muffin tray. So just going ahead here, and you can see the dark chocolate coming through. And then once this step is done, once I've got all the ingredients incorporated, I'll just stir in the chippets. So the chippets calls for 3/4 of a cup, I believe it was. So I've just, or it might be just a little bit more than that. So I divided it. with the ingredients. The ingredients list is on the other page, so can't really go back to it right now, but nonetheless, it's I've divided it. So whether I've done a third cup of each one, whatever that looks like. So you can just go ahead and do the same. I always like to follow a recipe when I'm baking, though, because I don't want to upset the end result. So here it is. I've just kind of folded it all together. I've got a little bit on the bottom. I'm just scraping off the bottom a little bit and really just trying to fold everything together, not trying to whip it too quickly or anything. And now I'm ready for the chippets. So I've got as I mentioned, the semi-sweet to dark, and I've got the white, and I've got the butterscotch. So there we go. And so a quick fold in the chippets, and then we're going to be ready for the next step. Oh, look at that. The sun shining. I love that. That's another thing. We get way more days of sunshine here in Alberta than we did when we were in Ontario. So it's so uplifting, when you have the sun shining. And, this house actually has a lot of windows also that we can look out into the, to the open space with the pond in the background. So it's really nice to engage and, just even enjoy cup of coffee, sitting at our table there and looking out onto the pond and, the wider space there. So on another video, I will show you what our view looks like. So you're probably curious about that, but I've got you actually locked in right now on my ring light. So unfortunately, I'm not able to turn it, but here we go. I'm going to grab the muffin tray and hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So grabbing my muffin, what I try and do is about the scoopful, and then I can always go back and add more if I find that I've got extra batter. So I'm just going to do that and get it all together here. Smells delicious. Smells heavenly, actually. Are you a chocolate fan? I'd love to know. Is this something that intrigues you, or are you looking for maybe a different recipe more on the vanilla side? I mean, sometimes we've got people that are just all about chocolate lovers, chocolate. That's my husband. He likes anything chocolate. So I thought I'm going to do something a little different today that we haven't done. So that way they can indulge. Well, my kids love the chocolate too. So mostly my son and my husband, they're the chocoholics. And our oldest daughter too, I guess I could say that. She's back in Ontario, Kayla, and she loves her chocolate as well. I take it or leave it. Like I like chocolate, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite as a base. Especially chocolate ice cream, that's not my favorite. I actually would prefer something other than chocolate. But if it's homemade, I really like chocolate ice cream, which we've been doing a lot lately, actually. We've been making the homemade ice cream because with our sensitivities in our family, it actually works out better even though it's still dairy, somehow it just sits better on their stomach. So maybe it's the ice cream that has all the preservatives in it, and maybe that's what's wreaking havoc in their stomach. So it's nice to know that we can use the ice cream maker, and they can feel good about what they're having, and enjoy ice cream again, because there was a long time where they weren't able to. So this is actually a thrill. So what I do is I usually just get the whipping cream and regular cream and milk, all from my favorite store, Costco. And then we use those ingredients to make our own ice cream. And it's actually cost effective. So, all right. Well, you know what? I am seeing that this is making more than 12 muffins. So this is incredible. I'm excited. So it looks like I might have a double batch here. And I hope that's exciting for you too. There's the 12. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in the oven. I'm still showing a blue light, so it hasn't quite preheated. I don't know about your oven, but mine just seems to take forever. But I have to wait till it's preheated to make sure that it's going to bake the way that I want it to. But again, I do appreciate you joining me today, and I hope that you enjoyed this series, this episode. And I can't wait for you to come back on next week to see the next recipe that we'll be doing on Foodie Friday. So again, have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And again, come back, grab that recipe. And later in the day, I will also do a video. I usually like to do a reel to show you the background and also the end result of what the muffins look like in the end. All right. Well, thank you again. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll chime in again next week. Take care. Bye for now.